What's up guys and welcome. You are watching Fazi Fitness. So why do we make the Olympia predictions? Even though we all know you can be the biggest bodybuilding expert in the world and still be totally off. For instance, Ron Roden, he made everyone eat their words, made all those Olympia predictions come wrong by jumping from 5th in 2017 to 1st in 2018. We saw Wesley Wizards doing the same at this year's Arnold. But we do that because making predictions, they are fun, especially if you have followed the sport for a while now. So I have been getting a lot of requests for this one. So these are my Olympia predictions. And I know I can be completely wrong about all of them this year because that is how unpredictable this year's Olympia is. So I have the same number 1 and number 2 as last year. I do believe Derek Lunsford is gonna repeat. The reason is very simple. He had more time than anyone in this year's Olympia lineup to make those improvements. We know he is gonna be lights out from the back. And why people out there are making this narrative that Derek is a small guy, did we just forget how crazy that X-frame of Derek Lunsford really is? I mean, the way that guy opens up, that is just nuts. So unless he has put on so much size that his waist has also gone wider, which I am sure it hasn't, I think Derek is gonna do exceptionally well. Now, as far as his weak points are concerned, the chest, the shoulders, the midsection, do you guys really think that's gonna change the judge's mind because the media kept pointing them out? I don't think so. I mean, he won all those poses against Hadi Choopan last year as well, even with a weak chest, with a weak shoulder, and with all of those weaknesses. So I have Derek in first spot, but just by the smallest margin against Hadi Choopan. So Hadi Choopan in second. Either Hadi or Derek, they can easily win this show. They can easily flip. Because the thing is, as much as we wanna see Andrew Jacked and Samson Dauda win and change the course of the sport of bodybuilding, but that conditioning factor, that plays a major role, especially at the Olympia level. And Hadi Choopan, we all know, already has that blueprint from this year's Arnold. And the man says he is gonna be better than that. He is gonna be better than his best version. And if that does come true, that is gonna be something really special to look at. So Hadi in second, but I do believe he can 100% win this show. So I have Samson Dauda in third. Now Andrew Jacked has definitely caught up in size, but still I do not see him improving the thickness in his side and his back shots, especially in the lower half, up to a point where he becomes extremely competitive against Samson Dauda. No, Samson had no tan, no carbs last night. And even then he looked really impressive at the press conference. And I believe if he truly dries out, he will repeat his placing from last year's Olympia. Now before I start talking about Andrew Jacked, I just want to mention that I hope I'm wrong in these predictions. Because Andrew Jacked, he is my personal favorite physique in this year's men's open lineup. And I would love to see him shock the entire bodybuilding world and be the first man ever from Nigeria to win a Sandow. But in realistic terms, I think he needs one more year, just one more year, and he is gonna be right up there. So I have him in fourth. So I do believe Andrew and Samson, they can also flip-flop between third and fourth. Rafael Brandao versus Martin Fitzwater for fifth. And this is a very hard one to pick, but I'm gonna go with Rafael Brandao, simply because both these guys, they are very aesthetic. But Rafael is just a bigger and a taller version of Martin. And I just do not see him missing his mark when it comes to his conditioning for the Olympia this year. His body is also looking fresh and he is having a lot of fun. So I'm gonna put him in fifth. So Martin Fitzwater in sixth, which by the way is still gonna be an incredible achievement because the man is the youngest guy in this year's men's open lineup and this is just the beginning of his career. So no matter how pale he comes, no matter how conditioned he is, size is always gonna be one of the major factors in the men's open bodybuilding. And that is why I'm putting Martin in sixth. So Brandon Curry, the former Miss Olympia, I believe is gonna be pushed out of that top 6. So he was very late starting this year's Olympia prep. And another factor is that all these young guys, they have progressed at such a fast pace. So I think guys like Brandao and Martin, they can really expose Brandon in certain areas, for instance his quads. And that is why I have Brandon in 7th. So Hunter Labrala in 8th, just because those abs, they are just way too much of a distraction in all of his front shots. Plus, how much better he can be compared to Italy Pro. Because the thing is, they really thought that they absolutely nailed their look in all of the videos leading up to that show. So I have Hunter in 8th. So Akeem Williams in 9th and Muhammad Foda in 10th. So both have the same weakness, the back. But Akeem is a bigger guy, plenty of size, plenty of muscle. And I think Chris Acito is gonna bring him in at his all-time best. So in Classic, I have Chris Bumstead winning again. Now it is extremely hard to bet against a guy who won last year despite being off, and the man who has been winning it for the last 5 years consecutively. So I have Ramon Dino in 2nd. I believe this is gonna be the best physique from Ramon to ever step on any bodybuilding stage. It is really hard to explain. What is that thing that Ramon Dino is missing, especially in comparison to C-Bomb? Because the thing is, when we look at those separate body parts and not the entire pose, I think we can all agree Ramon Dino is way better than C-Bomb. He has bare abs, bare biceps, bare arms, bare back, but still C-Bomb just somehow walks all over the competition. So I have Fazi in 3rd, simply because he won't have the most aesthetic and the most impressive taper on the stage, especially among those top 3 guys. And he was at his all-time best at this year's Arnold, and Ramon was far from his personal best. But still, he won that show by just 1 point. It wasn't a landslide victory, and that is why I believe Ramon Dino, he is gonna beat Fazi. So I have Urs Krashinsky placing 4th, because I cannot imagine Urs placing any higher than that. Unless, of course, he has made some massive improvements from this year's Arnold UK up until this year's Olympia, and that too with a weird cap hanging over his head. So I have Breon coming in 5th. Now I know he never misses his mark. He is always absolutely spot on, and despite being 44 years old, he has proved us all wrong multiple times. But still, I think Urs is gonna beat him this time. But do let me know what is your opinion. So when it comes to the 212, I'm sure most of us only care about the top 2 in the 212 class. So I have Keon Pearson repeating, and very convincingly, for his 2nd Olympia title, and I have Sean Kelvida in 2nd. So those are my predictions, and again I have to say I can be totally off, completely wrong about every single one of them. But please let me know your final predictions in the comments below. And most importantly, mention the bodybuilder you would like to see win this year. And also hit the thumbs up button if you liked the video, and smash the subscribe button if you wanna come back for more. Thanks for watching.